It's another video from Ozzy's Robot. Brought to you by the Banana Collection.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. What you see in front of you is the Holy Grail. A Holy Grail. Is it the Holy Grail for tin robot collectors? It's certainly one of them. It's among them, among the chosen few. So, before we get rolling, kick back, my friends. Sit down in that comfortable chair of yours. The Barco lounging, lazy boy reclining bar stool. I combined them all in one. And grab your favorite beverage. Today, I'm having Dasani again. And maybe it's morning where you're at, so you're rubbing the Sandman out of your eyes, and you say, you know what, I need a little pick-me-up. How about a cup of that Smooth Joe, a cup of Joe? And you might clank the cup and sweeten it a bit, throw a little cream, or you might be having it black, or you might be having tea, or you might be having nothing. But whatever it is you're doing, pay attention now, get a snack, focus on your screen, because yes, my friends, this is the elusive, the indomitable, the iconic Diamond Planet robot. And let me tell you something. It's taken me over 30 years to finally acquire one. Is he the best one? No. Is he a nice one? Yeah, he's pretty nice. He's pretty nice. So, with all the perfunctory duties out of the way, let me tell you something. Patience is a virtue, and I had an opportunity to buy one of these. And I won't get into the long backstory, but I could tell you that I actually had negotiated a deal, and then the seller, through a bunch of different scenarios, ended up selling it to somebody else. And that's fine. And then that toy subsequently ended up at an auction. And out of principle, as much as I wanted it, and as easy it would have been for me to afford it, I said, I am not going to bid against myself. And I didn't, and it was rather, painful to watch it, escape, to lose out on it. But you know what? I stuck with my principles, and it couldn't have been a few weeks later that a similar one came up, rose out of the ashes like a phoenix in Japan, and lo and behold, I was able to acquire it for a third of the price. So yes, patience is a virtue. And now this toy is sitting here before you. Now, I guess because it's so damn rare, it just has a presence that's different from other robots, including like the Machine Man, because the Machine Man, even though it set the record as the most valuable tin robot, it's part of a gang of 5 that use the same body pressing. So it's not uniquely styled. There's 5 robots in the series, and some of those robots, there might be hundreds, and in totality there could be thousands and thousands of the gang of 5 in various guises: the Lavender, the Target, the Radicon, the Sonic, and of course the Machine Man. So even though the Machine Man is the rarest of the rare of those of that series, and its box is, undoubtedly a holy grail, the body, the shape is very familiar, and even the lithography is familiar. It's really essentially, a red version of the Lavender, more or less, and the box is the same as the Lavender. This, on the other hand, is a completely unique body, unique head, unique arms. Now, I did discover that this body was used on the 8-man robot. So that's kind of cool. And these ears are very similar, if not identical. There's a couple of differences, minute differences, to the arms that were used on the mechanical moon robot. So there were some swapping of parts. But by and large, this is a very unique design. And the base is unique also. So you just don't have anything else that looks quite like it. And on top of everything else, this is the largest wind-up tin robot ever made. It has a huge mechanism. And John at the Robot Hut, who you should subscribe to, by the way, if you haven't already, he did a little TLC to this and said the wind-up spring on this toy was like something he has never seen before. It was so damn wide. So anyway, in taking all those factors into account, this has become probably one of the most sought-after robots ever. Now, the box to me is sort of a, how could I put this delicately? And I've said this before in other videos. It's not one of my favorites insofar as that the robot itself, it almost looks like just a photograph that was cut and paste, and it really isn't. It is, a drawing, but it's almost like the way you have an app that can take a photo and redo it. It's almost like they took a photo of it and somebody just kind of like drew over the photo because they didn't have time to do a proper illustration. And my guess is that if I were to look at other art boxes for the graphic boxes for these toys, that I would find probably this flying saucer, this planet, this landscape. That's just my hunch. Possibly even this cool rocket. So I do like the spacey landscape here. And by the way, this is a Yonezawa toy, and it's item number 802 for those that care. But it's cool. It has like craters here and some mountainous terrain. And the rocket is pretty cool. But the depiction of the robot to me is the weak link in this box. Other than that, I do like the font. I think it's cool. And let's see the side panels. You got this satellite here and just pretty much the font. And over here you have another rocket in 802. And the font again is pretty cool. And that's the box. So nothing spectacular. Now I'm filming this on my, I think I mentioned this, on my Samsung. So I'll add a few bells and whistles. So in between, if there's a pause, which maybe there won't be, but I might add the lightning flash or something just because I think it's cool. As for the robot, like I said, I should have taken maybe I'll do it at some point. I'll get the 8-man. Believe it or not, I don't even have a spot for this. How lame is that? I don't have a spot on the shelf prepared where I could fit this guy, but I'll definitely come across one. So he's big. Let me get my tape measure. It's right behind me. He looks pretty beefy. He would be like a perfect football player. So he's around 11 inches tall, but width-wise, and say he's like between 8.25 and 8.5 wide at its widest point, shoulder to shoulder. So he's pretty wide. Big rivets, and he's got kind of like this. I don't know. To me, his eyes look like they're square glasses. The way they're framed. I don't know that there's a lot of other robots that just have these independently chrome framed eyes. So it gives you the look of glasses, like square glasses. But it's a cool look. Here's the side view. And it has been theorized. There is one prototype of these in the Kitahara collection in Japan. And it's been speculated because he has a prototype that's battery operated, that the way this was designed was originally it was supposed to be a battery operated toy. So was this supposed to be battery operated? It sure looks like this was designed for batteries. And of course it's finished in the hammer tone blue with red trim. So it's just really freaking cool. And you have this dial and meters in here. It has some kind of, I don't know if it's a power gauge. And in the middle you have the Yonezawa logo, a few like switches almost could pass for a speedometer. And I think the eyes can shift. See that? Kind of look at what you want. I don't want them cross-eyed though. I want them looking straight ahead, focused, even on the side. Now, the one flaw, well, this condition's not perfect, but I wouldn't say this is necessarily a flaw, but the robot was missing the key. So I ordered these two ginormous keys. This key was for a large Marx wind-up toy, and it looks like the key that would have came with the toy. Kind of that butterfly design, right? Looks really cool there. And I ordered this even bigger key that's for like clockwork. But the shaft is actually smaller. It's smaller than the giant, or presumably giant, oversized Marx wind-up toys. So both of these keys are too small. However, when John tuned it up, he made this 3D printed key with the proper shaft size, and he put a brass sleeve around this so it wouldn't crack. Though I'm afraid sometimes winding it, it could crack this off. So I'm still on the hunt for a key that'll fit that enormous fat shaft coming out of the side. And this is, by the way, the spark window. So let's wind it up and see what it looks like. It does spark, because I know John showed me that it sparked, but you know, it sparks kind of rarely, or sparingly, I should say. Ooh, that got in there deep. Pull it out just a little bit. I don't want it in that deep. Don't stick it in too deep, because you need to pull it out when the time is right. Okay, so I have it sticking out just enough, and let's give it a few winds. Now I noticed, by the way, when I put it on its back, like this, and by the way, here's the bottom. There is a clicker mechanism in here, John told me too, so it does make a clicking noise. And did I mention it is the hammer tone blue? So let's give him a couple of turns. Boy, it doesn't take much. He is slow as molasses. Did you hear the click? For some reason he works better laying down. I can tell he has more unwinding. There's a spark, by the way. See the spark? finger out of the way. I'm actually, it's easier for me to do this and show you. Like I said, if I put him, seems like he's completely unwound. Anyway, that is your slow moving. Now, to be fair, he looks like a beefy slow mover, right? He gives me the impression of like a linebacker, you know, to use a football terminology, like a linebacker build robot that would move kind of slow. Or maybe, who was it in Futurama? There was one of the early episodes, there was a robot that was like a giant refrigerator or something when they went to the moon. And it was a female robot, fembot, I guess. And he's like, I love you, Paul. It was hysterical. But like, he kind of gives me that vibe of a slow gait, slow moving, plodding robot. But anyway, that is a look at your amazing Diamond Planet robot. And you know what? The fact that it works, the fact that it sparks, the fact that it's whole and complete is a major victory for me. I'm very happy to bring it to you. I think there's only one other video on this robot on YouTube, and it's only a very short look at him operating. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, because you won't see too many videos on this robot, trust me. With that, thank you for your time. If you like the Diamond Planet robot, do me a favor. Thumb up the video. If you're not subscribed, you know what? Subscribe and share this. Tell all your friends, hey, you know what? I saw an actual Diamond Planet robot operating on the greatest channel for toys anywhere on YouTube. So tell them to subscribe. Share it wherever you can. And with that, I appreciate your time, my friends. And I will talk to you later.